Carbohydrates are also known as our sugar and starches. Where the term comes from is the generic formula for each carbohydrate. We have carbon and the variable N, and on each carbon it has a molecule of water, also to the N. This is where the term hydrates of carbon, which means in some order every carbon has a hydroxyl group and a hydrogen. Our carbohydrates also have the same basic functional group. They are considered polyhydroxyl, many hydroxyl OH groups, hence hydrates, aldehydes, where the carbonyl will be at the terminal end or carbon number 1, or ketones, where the carbonyl will be interior, carbon 2 or lower. What I really like about looking at carbohydrates in particular is you can follow a carbon through its cycle from inorganic carbon dioxide back to the inorganic carbon dioxide. So in order for that carbon to go from an inorganic compound to an organic compound, it has to go through the process of photosynthesis. Plants, algae, and other species have chloroplasts that can allow for the process of photosynthesis to take place. We're not going to do a deep dive, though I would love to, on how this process works. What we are essentially looking at will take in carbon dioxide through the leaves, water up through the roots system, and it's using energy from light, hence the photo. The ultimate product we look at from photosynthesis is C6H12O6. Typically, when we hear the C6H12O6, we assume we are talking about glucose. However, what we have learned so far in this course is that C6H12O6 is a molecular formula. Therefore, it can represent the different isomers of these monosaccharides: glucose, galactose, and fructose. We will be investigating each of those monosaccharides in another video. However, what I want to show you, it's actually not the C6H12O6 that is really important for us to track. Yes, it is for carbohydrates, but what we have to remember is that all of our macromolecules are carbon-based, which means that all of that CO2 is not only making our carbohydrates, but it's also going to make our amino acids and our lipids and the foundation of our DNA. The essential or central compound that comes out of the Calvin cycle of photosynthesis is G3P. This graphic uses GA3P to note that we're talking about the plant version versus the animal version, which we just call G3P. G3P is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Glyceraldehyde is a 3-carbon compound that exits the chloroplast where photosynthesis takes place. When it leaves that chloroplast, it then is the base molecule for our 3 major macromolecules. So the biosynthesis of carbohydrates, lipids, and amino acids can now occur within the plant. This is one of the reasons why vegetarians can still get protein or fats from plants, because they're the ones who are building the original macromolecules that then animals will ingest, break down, and then build their own macromolecules. In this series of videos, we're going to track the carbon through the carbohydrate. Looking at our glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate going up to our carbohydrate synthesis. What needs to undergo in order to make the first monomer, or the most prevalent monomer of carbohydrates, is to make glucose. This process is called gluco for sugar, new genesis formed. This process can be performed by plants. It can be performed by animals as well. Gluconeogenesis is the synthesis of glucose from a smaller molecule. Here we can make it from glyceraldehyde. It is essentially the reverse of glycolysis, which we'll talk about in another video. This process is really important not only to build these macromolecules of sucrose, starch, cellulose, which are all plant-based macromolecules, or glycogen, which is an animal-made macromolecule. It is a really important process for us to understand that both plants and animals can reform glucose. So as we go through the digestion of carbohydrates, amino acids, and fatty acids, and we are maximized in our cell respiration in order to make ATP, we will then rebuild glucose monomers through this process of gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is a really important process for the brain because the brain relies solely on glucose as an energy source. And the brain cells or neurons have the highest mitochondrial concentration compared to any other tissue or organ in our body because it is always needing to run. When we have too much carbon-based compounds and we are reforming glucose, we will take that glucose, move it to the liver, and then it can get stored as glycogen. Ultimately, we have a variety of different pathways to take an inorganic carbon from CO2 and create our macromolecules, which is what we are built on. And then we can also break them down to re-release. It is really the coolest process ever, and I could talk forever about it. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.